Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. Feels kind of good to be back and with a new video. If you are new here, my name is Unovezeko Gaya. I do sit downs and I talk about my life and how I navigate through it with Jesus. So I've been away, taking little breaks here and there, try not to put too much pressure on myself. And yeah, I'm slowly but surely going to find a balance and just, be consistent in whatever that looks like. I don't know how it looks yet, but I'm praying about it and hoping that, next year it will be bigger, it will be better. But I am taking it 1 week, 1 month at a time, and yeah, Jesus being my help, I will get somewhere. Like, I'm trying to also find what works for me in terms of the channel. If I only want to do sit downs, or if I want to maybe also have a get ready with me and things like that. I've been thinking about that a lot, and once I know what to do and how I can do it, also sharing word or testimony, I will eventually, tell you guys. But let's get into today's video. Today I want to talk about something that has been in my heart over the past week or so, or 2 weeks, I don't know. But it is just basically thinking about myself when I wasn't in the right place with God, and how it was difficult for me to get there and find the necessary tools for me to get there. Obviously, it wasn't that hard because I'm always surrounded by Christians at home, people around me, church. So it wasn't that hard, but I can't imagine how it is for someone who doesn't have a local church, or someone who doesn't have the environment that will encourage her to eventually want to get right with God. So a lot of things happen in life. We make mistakes and we fall along the way. But one thing remains is that Jesus is the same. And with him being the same is that he's always open. His arms are always open to us, for us to go back to him. And it is really difficult to do life without Jesus. It is extremely hard. And I can't imagine how hard it is if you actually, or if you've once had a relationship with him and then things happen and you're no longer at that place, that it must be harder to know this peace, or to know this, relationship that helps you get through life, and then all of a sudden you don't have that anymore and you're not sure how to get back up again. So I'm going to share just things that can help you to rekindle your love with Jesus, and hopefully that will get you to a place where God can restore you, completely, and you can go back to your position of being the child of the King, and and have a life that is driven by God. One thing that you need to remember as you make this decision is that God does not judge us when we come back to us. When we come back to him, rather, he is always open for us to go back to him. He's always waiting for us to go back to him. The Bible says he even leaves the 99 behind, and he goes and he looks and he searches for you and he goes after you. So in you wanting to rekindle your love with Jesus, know that Jesus has the same desire for you, and that he is also thinking about you, and he's also yearning for you as much as you are, or even more than you are actually yearning. And he is just like eager for you to return to him. And one of the ways I don't know if that actually sounds right, but There are many ways to start. I know when you are in that place, you actually just always thinking, what do I do? Do I go to church? What do I do? Do I confess to someone? Do I pray? But my advice would always be to make baby steps, or to start with the, slow walk, and do the easy things that are more natural for you to do. Excuse me. Things like, when we're praying, we always make it like such a hard thing, or we make it such a formal thing, or like this, it's sacred, yeah, but we make it like this thing that we need to change first before we can start making those prayers. And we need to do things that will show God that we are actually serious about returning to him. But sometimes all you have to do is to say, Lord, I want to return to the place where I used to know, or I want to return back to you, and I need you to help me to get to that. I need you to help me to get back up. And I think with those words, and whatever words that you want to put in there, God hears our prayers, and he will be right there helping you at every step of the way. And there are also a number of ways that you can use to help yourself in wanting to do that. One other way that you can something is in my nose, I don't know. Yeah, so another way that you can, how do I put this? I'm actually struggling, but you know what? I'll keep going. So I have this thing here that will help you to spend time with Jesus, or to help you to start somewhere. So one, like I've already mentioned, it's praying and asking God to restore your relationship. Also, when you do pray and when you find the words to say to him, I find it helpful for you when you pour out your heart to him. I find it very helpful when I pour out my heart to God. It doesn't matter what I'm going through in that moment, but I find it very helpful for me to pour out my heart to God. It doesn't matter if I don't sound like a Christian in that moment when I'm praying, but what matters for me is for me to be honest at the feet of God, and to say things that I know are hard for me to even come to terms with, but they are necessary for me to say to him, because he can help me right where I feel stuck, right where I feel maybe I don't want to go on anymore, or like life is too hard for me to try again. But pouring out your heart to God like you are talking to your best friend has been very helpful in my journey with God. Like just sitting there and just telling him how you're feeling, telling him how it's been like without him, and what are the things that have caused you to fall away. Like, give him the details, give him the story. Like, God, this is where I started feeling like you were not there anymore. This is where I started doubting your love for me. And it is, God is God. He's able to get into those questions and answer you. He's able to come to you in ways that you have never imagined him, and he's able to help you in those moments. So we must never be shy to open our hearts to God. We must never be like embarrassed to come before God and just pour out our hearts. More than we pour our hearts to men, and more than we pour our hearts to therapists, but God should be the one place where we feel so safe that we can. I got cut while I was trying to explain how we can come to God in prayer when we feel like we have drifted away and we want to return and come back to our rightful places that He has predestined us to be in. Yeah, so I'm trying to get back. A lot is happening, but I will not be discouraged. One is prayer. Another way that you can make baby steps to come back to God and to rekindle your love with Him, it is changing your playlist. At times we don't realize what a big deal it is to spend time listening to music and what that does to us. Changing your playlist will literally change your mindset. If you have been feeling discouraged or feeling sad or feeling whatever that a difficult time that you may be facing in your life, once you put on the perfect playlist, it has a way of influencing how you're feeling. And I believe that when we are trying to get back on our feet with the Lord, or rekindle with the Lord, or just make time for Him, a small thing such as changing your playlist can literally make a difference in your life and in your heart, in your mind, and just how much you are thinking about God influences how much you want more of Him. So if you are someone who listens to a lot of secular music and you want to rekindle your love with God and you don't know how you can do it or where you can start, as I mentioned, one, even though I'm repeating, but one is prayer. Another way is spending time listening to worship music, spending time listening to praise music, spending time listening to what encourages the desire that you have inside of you. Because when you're listening to music and it has words, it encourages something in you. So if you are listening to a lot of, I'll make an example about something that I actually like, which is R&B, even though I don't listen to it like I used to, and I'm very mindful of what am I actually listening to right now, but it talks a lot about love, and sometimes it talks a lot about breaking up, sometimes it talks a lot about divorce, sometimes it talks a lot about walking away, but there is always a message behind the lyrics. And with listening to gospel or listening to worship or listening to Christian music, as they would title it on Apple, it really helps you to be mindful, like think about Jesus more, or find yourself humming to that song that talks about Jesus. And that can even get you to a point where you actually end up praying because you are thinking about Jesus, like, oh, I haven't prayed. So changing your playlist actually influences you to either drift away from Him more or to be closer to Him. It's such a small thing, but it has such an impact in your heart, in your mind. You can maybe not like start big. Maybe say, if you're someone who doesn't listen to that kind of music at all, maybe say, I'm gonna put in 2 or 3 worship songs on my playlist, that while you're listening to whatever secular song, then that worship song will come on and it will remind you of the goodness of God and remind you of the love of God. So changing your playlist is very important, because sometimes we don't realize that the very things that are making us sad is these people that we are listening to who are sad, and they are influencing, impacting our emotions, our mind to also feel what they're feeling. So maybe you should take a look at your playlist and see what are the changes that you can make. Or just like, remember the songs that you used to enjoy when you were in love with Jesus or you were walking with him, and those songs, maybe you don't enjoy them not anymore. Just maybe try and find the songs, gospel songs that used to excite you, used to make you want to maybe be in gatherings with believers. Because I know there's songs like that where I listen to it and I'm like so excited for the next time I'm home, because I'm not going to get into that, but I get excited that, if when I'm listening to the song with my siblings, it's going to be a time. So that encourages me to look forward to coming events or coming holidays, even when I'm sad. So it really does encourage us. We might not see it in that moment when you're listening to hip hop, talking about, I don't know what hip hop is about these days, but you might not see it in those moments when you're listening to a piano and it is encouraging a night out, whereas you are in desperate need to be indoors and spending your time with Jesus, because how else would you get through what you're going through? Get me? So yeah, there's that. Music, change your playlist, put in a few songs. Just do something that you haven't done in a while, something that you've never done. If you're someone who has never known Jesus and you've been hearing people talking about Jesus and it's been a training thing, like what can you do to get there, to get somewhere, to get moving? Baby steps, like changing your playlist. Another one would be change the books that you read. If you're someone who's into novels or someone who's into reading, you change the content of what you're reading. Read more things that are Christian based, because things that will actually help where you are. There's a lot of books that you can find, not that I can mention any, but there's a lot of books that you can find that will talk about how to get back up again if you've lost your way and you feel lost and you want to get back. Another way, it's if you're not someone who reads books like me, and you don't mind reading the Bible, then you can read the Bible. But when you do read the Bible, don't overwhelm yourself in reading long chapters that you won't understand, but start small. Start with maybe 5 lines or start with 1 line, but start with your favorite verses, the verses that are trending on social media, the verses that, Jeremiah 29, all those verses that talk about God being a God of miracles and God can do it and all this thing. Start even with those verses, and that will encourage you when you're reading your favorite verse. It will remind you of maybe a time when it actually became your favorite verse, so you can start with that, and hopefully God will lead you into the hardest stuff. God will lead you into the parts that will actually help your growth, more than it will help you to think of God as a God that's going to give you something, but God who is a savior, God who's a redeemer, God who's a restorer, God who changes the heart of stone and gives us the heart of flesh. So you will start off with the things that you know, with the things that are easy for you to understand, but once you get into it, you're going to find yourself reading the hard stuff. And by hard, I don't mean that there are hard stuff, but I just mean that things that are not as easy to understand, or things that you don't normally see on social media being shared by other believers or other people. Another way that can help you, I think it's number 3, it was prayer, music, reading. Okay, number 4 would be what you're watching. It's very important. It's as important as what you are listening to, because it also impacts how you think, how you feel. how you see, your imagination. So you want to watch things that will encourage the faith that is dead in you, or will encourage whatever that is lost. It will. So you look for channels that will encourage you wherever you feel, in the area that you feel you need God. But also try and read up about a person before you watch their channel, or if you can, try and see if it's gonna be like, how do I say this, but try and do a little bit of research before you watch someone. But I find that sometimes, even if people are false prophets, or that's how people would want to put it, or they're not exactly, yeah, it's a very difficult thing to share with someone. But I find that even those people that we see as false prophets, or we know that they are, sometimes there's truth in what they are saying. But I wouldn't encourage you to listen, because now it's like I'm misleading you. But do find people. I know that God is faithful, and He will direct your path to people that will give you the information that you need for where you are trying to get. Because I know when I was trying to rekindle my love with Jesus, or trying to get back up, when God was getting me back up again, He was the one who led me to what I could listen to, who I could listen to. So I don't want to put too much pressure on you to try and figure out who's false, who's not. And that you must trust God to be able to direct you to who will help you in your walk. So it's better to, take that leap of faith and believe that what I'm listening to right now, it is good for me, than watching something that is very ungodly, and it will not help you in any way with what you're trying to do. So I would rather you make a mistake by listening to someone who's gonna maybe tell or say something that isn't true, like biblically, than someone whom is just talking about ungodly things and there's no truth in them. But that's just me. It's complicated. So that's one thing that you can do for yourself, to try and help yourself to get to that place. Another one, which I think I've mentioned in some of my videos, was to, how do I put this? Instead of praying with words, if you're someone who likes writing, likes journaling, you can journal your prayers. Instead of journaling your thoughts, you journal prayers. You write as though you're praying to God. I know that definitely works. It worked with me. When I couldn't pray, I would journal my prayer, and God would answer me in those moments. So if you're struggling to say things to God with your mouth, write letters to God, and He hears, He sees, He knows your heart. So He knows you mean well. He knows you are genuinely trying to talk to Him. He's not going to be like, until you open your mouth, I ain't going to respond to that. He is very loving and kind. He's not like us. He's understanding. Another way that you can spend time with Jesus, in trying to rekindle your love with Him, if you're someone who takes walks or who is a runner, you can go for a walk, and while you are walking, you pray. While you are running, you pray or you praise. But every little chance you get, use it for the benefit of you getting back with God. Take it as like, a friendship, and you guys fought and you broke up, and now you're trying to get back up. There is nothing that you will not do for that friend that was once dear to you, to try and get back up with them again, or rekindle that love with them. So you will insert those little changes in your lifestyle to try and accommodate them, to try and, make them see that you are interested in them, or you want them to come closer to you. But I don't know if my example actually helps, but I hope that it does. So that's another way that you can do. Another way to help you is to, surround yourself with people that will speak life into you. And that can mean go to a church that is, Bible based and that prays, and find people there that will speak life into you. Sunday or Wednesday prayer meeting, a Thursday cell group meeting, but anything where you will be surrounded by the people that speak about God and people that will encourage you to get closer to Him. Make time for those people if you have them. But in the absence of those people, it doesn't mean that, oh, okay, what do I do now? I don't have people that I can run to and talk to about. God is always there. I find that at times we're so hard on ourselves, or people are so hard on us. Like, find the right group of people that talk the same thing. And sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you have relocated and it is hard. You made a lot of changes and you might not find that group of people, but God is faithful. He's there with you. He's always with you. And at the right time, you will find those people. So, but if you can, and if you're someone who's social and Bible, try and find those groups and spaces where you will find other believers, and they will encourage and remind you of, being in the house of the Lord. And hopefully that will encourage you to, get even closer with God. And one last one, sometimes we are scared to make those big changes because we're scared of feeling lonely, and we're scared of doing something new by ourselves. Like, if you are friends with people that encourage the side of you that that makes you drift away from God, then it's going to be hard for you to break away from those people. But even if it's hard, I pray that God gives you the courage and the grace to do it, because it will be worth it. Yes, it will be painful. It will be definitely painful, but it will be so worth it that you will just see that as just a low thing in you, like, compared to the relationship that you will gain with God. And you will find people that will encourage you to be with the Lord, even if it's those same people that you've walked away from. But don't be scared to make drastic changes that will allow you to break free and to connect with God in ways that you've never connected with Him before. So I hope that this is helpful. I am really passionate about, people who have lost their way and are trying to get back with Jesus, or want to, but they're scared, or want to, or whatever that may be hindering them. My heart is with those people. I think about them, I pray about them, that the Lord may guide them, the Lord may pull them back up. There's nothing worse than knowing God, walking with Him, being friends with Jesus, and then losing all that. And the devil won't be easy on you. He comes 7 times more than before you maybe got away free. But now, the second time, when he finds you that you are not as connected to God as you used to be, he will try to kill you, clean you out, destroy you. That's what he does. That's what he's all about. So I want to encourage you, even if you feel embarrassed, or you feel so guilty that you can't imagine how God would restore you, but God restores. My life is proof that God restores. If I could tell you where I've been, in detail, you would definitely believe that God restores. But maybe when I'm brave and bold enough, I will share those those testimonies. But for now, we're here. I hope this video was helpful. I hope that you encourage in your faith. I hope that you encourage to get back up again with the Lord, and that God is there with you. I pray that you may find a pleasure to be with Him, and that He may show you that He's there with you, and that will encourage you to continue walking with Him. I will see you guys on my next video. I hope it'll be soon. Please do like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Yeah.